Though they don't look normal, they try to act normal, but everything changes in the span of one night. Hi, my name is Saugi, and my friend will be joining us soon throughout this book review. So today we're going to be talking about Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng. This book is one of the books we had to read for our English summer reading, and I really enjoyed it, but my friend doesn't like it. So I just wanted to prove to her why this is a good book. I think this is a good book because I feel like it has a lot of valuable meanings and it helps us understand the value of family. Even though it's kind of a hard read, if you get into it, I guarantee you that the person will enjoy it.
Hi, my name is Sanjana and I love reading books. I personally didn't like this book. I thought it was an interesting book for summer reading, but it didn't appeal to me for many reasons. So here's a quick summary of what happens in the book and my reasons for not liking it. This is the story of a Chinese American family, the Lees, taking place in the 1970s, making them a rather unconventional family back at that time. At the beginning of the book, we learn that the most favorite daughter of the family, Lydia, is missing. A few days after she goes missing, they found her body drowned at the bottom of a lake near their house. This event puts a lot of pressure on the family. James and Marilyn, the parents of Lydia, go through some marital problems because they don't know how to deal with the death. James cheats on Marilyn, and Marilyn becomes reminiscent of the days she had tried to pursue a career in medicine. She had always aspired to become a doctor, but she couldn't because she was pregnant and they needed to get married. James cheats on Marilyn with his assistant because, being Chinese American, he feels as if he doesn't fit in. His assistant is Chinese American too, so I think he feels she can relate to him.
Lydia's siblings, Nathan and Hannah, also go through some problems. Nate thinks that Lydia's friend, Jack, knows something about her death, since Lydia was spending a lot of time with Jack before she died. He goes through an irrational time period, not thinking straight and blaming everything on everybody.
Now that you have gotten the whole gist of the book, it's time to dive into our opinions on it. I'll go first. I didn't like this book for just a few reasons. The first being the ending of the book. I know, ironic. The first reason is the ending, but I like closure in a book, and Everything I Never Told You just doesn't deliver on that part. It ends with the members of the family moving on and trying to get on with their life. The whole book piles on the sad events, but the ending is just incomplete. Here's a small excerpt from the end of the book. And tomorrow, next month, next year, it will take a long time. Years from now, they will still be arranging the pieces they know, puzzling over her features, redrawing her outlines in their minds. Rather than giving a concrete ending, or even a small wrap for closure, such as Nath goes to college, the book just leaves you hanging, wondering what happened to them. It's unfair to tell someone's story but not how to end up. I know this is what happens in real life, and I get this ending correlates with the style of the book. However, this doesn't match my taste in books. I don't like to be left hanging. I want to know the happily or sad ever after that the characters get after all their struggles.
I would have to disagree with that. I think the way that this book ends is the only possible way to finish this book because I think this is the way that most of the readers would be satisfied. New discoveries on the case of Lydia's death or the book ending with a divorce might lead the readers craving for more. The way this book ends, with all the family members at peace, is probably the only way this book can be resolved.
I can understand your point of view, and I understand why the author ended it the way she did, but it did not leave me satisfied. I didn't get that full belly feeling you get after you finish like a book for the first time, or after drinking a nice and warm glass of milk. For me, I need that tiny wrap at the end to solidify the story's end. I don't like those incomplete types of endings. They make me feel like I've been left hanging, like with a piece of chocolate dangling in front of my nose, snatched away at the last second. I would rather eat the piece of chocolate and be left craving for more rather than have it taken away from me. Another reason why I didn't enjoy this book much was because of how many sad events were piled onto the book. Rarely was there a happy moment, a small joy, and the ending made this worse because it just left the book hanging, just full of sad stories. Marilyn couldn't pursue her dreams, James always felt like he was different and stood out, Hannah was overlooked, Nath wanted someone to blame, and Lydia had a lot of pressure placed on her. The book just kept bouncing around their points of view and how miserable it was for them.
I think that these sad events is what makes the book extraordinary. The amount of tragedy this family goes through is very hard to imagine. I personally don't think I can go through that type of pain. But the way that these tragedies are dealt with is very special. The Lees all react in a different way because they have their own coping mechanisms. Marilyn is always found in Lydia's room after her death. Nate was always trying to find someone to accuse. I think that these sad events develop the characters into something new. Nate starts to open up from his little bubble, even though it was a violent way. And Marilyn and James were forced to work through their problems, to at least look put together for their children and rest of Middletown, Ohio, the place in which they lived.
I definitely agree with that part of your analysis of the book. The character development part of this book is definitely one of its strong points.
Another reason that this book is out of the ordinary is because this book is relatable. I think that many people can easily relate to this book because of its difficulties that they go through. From having racial issues or having problems at home, I think that this book has something for all audiences. This is one of the best books I've ever read before. This book has a way of captivating you. The way the author uses certain techniques to make you feel like you're in the 1970s with Living with the Lees. Also, being Indian American, I feel like I can relate with this book a lot. I think the values we hold and the racial issues I share with the Lees is very similar. This book is a tough read. I'm not going to lie about that. But it holds a lot of difficult topics. And even though it holds a lot of difficult topics, if you look past these things, this book holds a deeper meaning. It mentions the importance of family. Even though they're not a conventional family, the Lees share the same ideals like any other family in Middletown, Ohio.
But are they really just another family? I mean, how many families have this many troubles?
Okay, tell me something. Tell me how many fathers have an affair? Tell me how many mothers have to give up on their dreams for their children? Tell me how many sons are under fathers' pressures? Tell me how many daughters are neglected? And tell me, accidents don't happen within every family. After looking at all of this, can you tell me that they're not a regular family?
Yes, because all of this doesn't just happen in one family. Usually one of these problems happen to a family. I feel like they're definitely not regular, and that's what makes this book stand out from others. I mean, even if I don't like it, I have to admit that this is a powerful and profound story.
They're just a family, including a mother regretting her decisions, a father having an affair, a son who can't wait to leave the world of his father's expectations, a neglected child who's left to fend for herself, and finally, a girl who cracked under the pressure of her family. In the end, they're just a family that's trying to get through every day without falling apart.